This video was created by VinylicPuma of VinylicPumaGaming.
Hey guys, back with another Borderlands video today, and I wanted to talk about Borderlands 3. I also wanted to do a cool experiment and do a straw poll on Borderlands 2, which if you want to participate, I'll have a link in the description below. The straw poll is going to be, which platform do you currently play Borderlands 2 on? I'll be including the poll results in the next Borderlands video. So I figured I'd do another countdown on Borderlands 3, and I would go over some things that I think Borderlands 3 either needs or would greatly benefit from having. So without further ado, these are the 9 things that Borderlands 3 needs to have. Alright, so our first thing is going to be mod support. Now, I feel like a broken record here, but Borderlands 3 needs mod support, or at the very least, a very well-designed user-generated content feature. And ever since Borderlands 1 came out, people have been messing around with the game files to create new guns and weapons to change the way the game is played. And before Borderlands 2 came out, people were asking for mod support not just so they could create their own guns, but so they could create their very own levels as well. And I think if Gearbox decided to add user-generated content or incorporate it in some way, it would greatly help the franchise. If you look at Bethesda's Fallout and Elder Scrolls franchises, both of those franchises have flourished because of the introduction of mod support, and I don't see why Borderlands 3 couldn't also benefit from that. Okay, so the second thing here is going to be good community events. Now, contrary to popular belief, people actually like community events. They just need to be good and well planned. And what I think a lot of people didn't like about the Borderlands 2 $100,000 loot hunt is that most of the buffs were not substantial or game-changing enough, especially for a lot of the veteran players within the community. Everyone liked it when the fastball got a massive buff with like 500% more damage, and they even liked it when the Lady Fist got a buff as well from, I believe, like 400% critical hit damage to now like 800 or something ridiculous like that. And making guns that were bad or they were like decent in the first place and then suddenly making them great had a profound effect on the community and the way the game is played. And I think if you did more buffs like that during community events, that would be awesome. Alright, so the third thing here is going to be good raid boss fights. Now, while I personally admit that I don't like raid bosses, there were a lot of people that did like to do challenge runs and kill them. And raid bosses were mostly done away with in the pre-sequel. Really, other than the Empyrean Sentinel and then maybe like EOS and Eclipse, there really aren't any. And honestly, a lot of them, both of them, are a little bit easier than guys like Terramorphous and Verastus. But I think the problem I and many other people had with the raid bosses is that most of them are really hard to kill and they didn't provide any worthwhile loot upon killing them. They were essentially these hard bosses that didn't drop anything good when killed. And even Terramorphous, who drops a guaranteed Legendary Slayer of Terramorphous class mod, seems to barely drop anything anyone wants. I mean, the Pitchfork isn't the best sniper rifle in Borderlands 2, nor is the Teeth of Terramorphous like this spectacular shotgun. So Gearbox, if you are listening, we need better loot to drop from the raid bosses, because otherwise, what's the point in even killing them? I think the fourth thing here is going to be hardcore mode. And a lot of Borderlands Twitch streamers have popularized hardcore mode, or what they basically have branded One Life to Live, in which the player plays through the game on one life, and then if you die, you have to start again from level 1. And maybe hardcore mode would feature tougher enemies than normal, and then you would have a higher chance to get rarer, purple rarity, and then like maybe legendary loot, and then up. So I guess if they add pearlescence and seraph weapons as well, you would have higher drop rates for all those weapons. And then for fun, you could make all of the enemies at least 2 to 4 levels higher than you, meaning that some of the enemies will also have damage reduction on top of the higher health. So it would be kind of like this crazy challenge mode where you would get more loot, but if you died, you basically lose it all. And really, I think these challenge playthroughs are fun and could really add to the Borderlands 3 experience. The fifth and probably the most important thing on this entire list is new gun and weapon types. Now that we have seen lasers from Borderlands the pre-sequel, they've got to be in Borderlands 3. Also, you know that guy that had the Torg crossbow in Tales from the Borderlands? We need crossbows to appear in Borderlands 3. And it could also be interesting to see Gearbox experiment with new elements in addition to the standard fire, shock, corrosive, slag, and cryo elements. After all, we did see the rage and piercing elements on the Crybaby assault rifle in the pre-sequel's Holodome DLC. New rarities could also be interesting. The pre-sequel did introduce some new ones based on like the oxygen canisters and the Moonstone currency, and Borderlands 2 had like this hidden legendary rarity that is kind of like the color of money, and unfortunately these rarities are synthetic in those games. It could be really cool if you incorporated those rarities into Borderlands 3. So the sixth thing could be pretty cool, and that is going to be unique ammunition. Now, if you've played Fallout New Vegas, Fallout New Vegas had hollow point and armor piercing rounds for all weapons, and it would be cool if Borderlands had this and you could switch to a different ammo on any weapon by simply hitting like a toggle or a combination of buttons. Like maybe you could just hit like the right bumper or left bumper, and you could switch from, let's say, like hollow point to armor piercing, and that would have certain advantages associated with that. Hollow points would be good against light armor enemies like your psychos, while hollow points would be good against armored enemies like loader bots. And it would be interesting to combine this with the elements that you're going to have from Borderlands 1, 2, and the pre-sequel to take down various enemies. Instead of just shooting a fire gun at a bandit, maybe you would also need to use a certain ammo type as well, which can be accessed by a simple toggle. So our seventh thing here is going to be new Vault Hunters. While I like the Vault Hunters from Borderlands 2, as well as the Vault Hunters from both Borderlands 1 and the pre-sequel, I think I want to see some new Vault Hunters this time around. Now, maybe you could have had NPCs from previous games return as Vault Hunters, which would be fine. However, I would like to see new characters with new skills. I also hope Borderlands 2 launches with 6 playable characters out of the box as well. It would also be interesting to see interesting combinations of some of the traditional character classes from the previous games. So maybe you could combine like the Berserker class with the Sniper class, or maybe the Siren class with the Commando or Soldier class. Just an idea. Let's go on to number 8, and that is going to be 6-player co-op. Something that always frustrated me with Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel is that you couldn't play every single Vault Hunter at once. So maybe you would have the original 4, but you also couldn't play with Krieg and Gage to bring the total to 6. And I always just thought that was weird. And this seems like it wouldn't be that hard to do to incorporate 6-player co-op into the next Borderlands. If enemies gain an incremental amount of health for each player in the game, couldn't you just add the same incremental amount of health for each new player that's added? And, you know, something else is I hope if Gearbox decides to add more character DLC or playable character DLC, I hope this kind of gets future-proofed. So let's say they add 2 new Vault Hunters via DLC, the game would go from 6-player co-op to 8-player co-op, and I think that would be pretty sick. Our final thing here is going to be better DLC than Borderlands 2. While Dragon Keep and Captain Scarlet are good DLCs, both the Torg and Hammerlock DLCs leave something to be desired, and especially the Headhunter packs left something to be desired, as none of them added new weapons, new gear, or anything like that, which was bizarre because Borderlands is a game about loot, and not necessarily about just solely level design. I think many of us would be okay with actually having less DLC, but of much higher quality. And if we got DLCs, maybe like 2 or 3 that were on par with the quality of, like, say, General Knox from Borderlands 1, Dragon Keep from Borderlands 2, or maybe Claptastic Voyage from Borderlands the pre-sequel, that would be better than 2 to 3 just okay DLCs with one really good one. Anyway, guys, that's going to pretty much wrap up this particular video. If you like this video, please be sure to leave a like. Remember, the straw poll link will be in the description. If you want to vote in that straw poll, and again, the question is going to be, which platform do you play Borderlands 2 on? That'll be in the description. But otherwise, again, take care, guys, and I'll see y'all next time.